Well, hello and welcome into a very exciting episode of The Scene. This is Get Real with Bubba and Sarah. I'm here with my co-host from Sarah Does. I have Sarah Canida.
Hey.
So fun to do this. This is what would be probably our second episode, but our first in this format. We got a video that we're chopping up currently as kind of a launch, but how fun to just get to have a conversation with your friend once a week, right?
Yep. Nope. That's great. I'm excited. What are we going to talk about today?
Well, today you posted a picture of New York City, and having never been there myself, I wanted your take on the city that never sleeps.
I just got chills actually just thinking about it because I randomly got asked to go on a trip there almost 3 years ago. And I almost turned it down because I have never once thought about going to New York City. I don't know why, but I decided what the heck. Okay. So it was a cheap trip. I had 5 nights there. I was staying with somebody who already lived in Brooklyn in a very small apartment. And so I knew that I could just put all my trust into that person who could take me all around the city and show me what she does. And it was one of the best trips of my life that I've ever taken. And I think the reason behind that is because I was with somebody who lived there. So we did the subways the whole time. The apartment we were staying in, I was sleeping on a blow-up mattress that had a hole in it. So every morning I would wake up and I was back on the hardwood floor with this little bubble around me. And then we'd blow that back up and tiny little bathroom and just so many cool things.
Well, and it's funny that you mentioned the subway because I feel like for any of us country mice that make it into the city, public transportation is it's not here. Like there's not enough people going in one direction or the other to even justify mass transit. So sometimes just riding on it is like half of the fun.
Yeah, I was just talking to my friend about this the other day. Okay, so you're in Deadwood. You drink a lot. You call up the cab. The cab picks you up. You get home to lead. You go to bed. You know, everything's a little bit foggy getting home, that little 3 miles. And I was thinking, if you lived in New York City and you did the same thing, and then you had to hop on a subway after drinking and try to remember where you're going and the stop, that would be so terrible. I would never get through that. I would have to stay sober in New York City.
Well, and I think that points to something that we can take in our everyday life, right? Is that like we get so trapped in our routines that we almost like have to dull ourselves, right, to get through the routine. And then you don't realize that like when you step out into some of into these places where your senses, you want all your wits about you, right? That's a sobering effect. And I think when you are out there and then you do drink or something, that you're like almost hyper aware of the intoxication too.
Yeah. The other thing I noticed about New York City, we went everywhere. Okay. We rode I'm trying to remember all the names to these things. The ferry. I did the World Trade Centers. I did Times Square. I did Rockefeller Center. I did the park that I posted about today. What is that called? Central Park. All the parks there. We walked we were walking probably 8 miles a day. And the thing about it there is I had not 1 ounce of anxiety the whole time I was there. And I don't know what that is. I've still tried to think into that. Like, is it because I didn't know anybody? Because here I can have it daily in Lee Deadwood and the whole Black Hills. But then I go to New York City where I thought it would be amplified and I had none at all.
And that's when you realize that the environment isn't necessarily where the anxiety is coming from.
Yeah, no, it's just, it could be people that when you know everybody, it could be just being somebody new in a whole new world. And because there was people everywhere, there were all these cool shops. My big thing about traveling is eating. So I want to go try out all these different ethnic restaurants. We ate at an Ethiopian restaurant. I like to go to little dive bars. There were bars that you could barely even walk through. You're like just shoulder to shoulder because, there's like 10 bar stools. And then right there at the bar, a foot away, it seems like, is the wall behind you. So you walk in and you've got to walk past that wall and everybody's shoulders and you bump into everybody. But for some reason, I was feeling really comfortable in New York City. Like could be one of my places. I don't know.
I think you would fit in very well in New York City. I have never been myself, and I would never go. I would never go by myself. Like if me and Danielle, I don't think I would ever take her to somewhere that big. When we go to Minneapolis, that's enough for her. And Minneapolis, as far as cities go, is really nothing. I mean, I've lived in Los Angeles and some of these places. I've been in major metro areas. I've experienced homelessness in major metro areas, right? I've been in the seedy parts of the town, not in Central Park, which is pretty now notoriously a very safe place to be. Maybe not recently, but but it's a beautiful thing to have a friend there, right? Like when I say I want to go to New York City, I'll only go with my buddy Vinny, who lived in Brooklyn and, you know what I mean, grew up there and has those deep roots, and you're going to find all the little holes in the walls and all the specialness of the city, right? I would love to see Times Square, but that's not a destination necessarily. It's more of a like, well, I have to at least go grab a picture while I'm here. Like I didn't come all the way across the country to not get a picture in Times Square, but it has no allure to me. What I would be into is much more like you are, the food, very cool venue to go watch some music, some new art. We don't have a lot of museums. I mean, we have museums and things to out here, but the variety of what you can find in these major metro areas is just, you can't replace it, right? The internet doesn't replace it either. And I guess I guess why I wanted to talk to you about it is because I know that we're both very well traveled just from growing up. You've lived in different areas and have moved around and have experienced life. I know you were just out in Los Angeles within the last few years as well, and out in that area. And there's a lot of people who grew up here, like my wife, who to her, Yankton of like 15,000 people is the city. Oh my God, you got to go into the city. And it's like, whoa, that's a city block.
Oh, yes. My child's grandma, that is her favorite place in the world. Yankton. That's what she says. It's my favorite place in the world. And I'm like, what? I mean, nothing against Yankton.
No.
But no, this is the cool thing about traveling is what I like to do is I like to find the unknown. Yeah, I would never have chosen to go to Times Square, but I was very lucky to be taken there. Like every time I'd get off the subway, I'd walk out of it. I had no idea where we were going. I never asked the agenda. I would walk out of the subway and be like, oh my gosh, Times Square. Oh my gosh, the World Trade Center Memorial. Like I had no idea. But the places that I wanted to see, I actually YouTubed beforehand interesting and unique places to go in New York City. And I do this before I go on any trip. And it took me to, one of them was Bloody Angle. Do you know the Bloody Angle?
I do not.
Okay, you need to go there. Bloody Angle is a alley in New York City, right in Chinatown. And this is where the most murders have happened ever. And this is where Gangs of New York was filmed, also part of that. And you need to go there. It's got all these beautiful like colors on the street, painted different colors and the walls. And we ate at some of the best restaurants there. But this is like back in the day, gang days, long, long time ago when all the murders were happening there. But you need to check that out. And I have awesome pictures from that I'm going to be sharing as well.
Long time ago. That's what I would tell somebody I was trying to send to Murder Alley too.
Yeah, I know. And then there's one more. So another place that I found it is an aquarium just right on a side street in Brooklyn. And it's it's not even an aquarium, it's a pond, but they turned it into this little mini aquarium just on the corner of the street. And it has fish in the pond. It's got, I don't even know what it's called, but it's one of the coolest little things that I found. So I haven't seen it. I sent that woman that I was staying with in Brooklyn, I said, you need to go see this. And she sent me a picture from it. And so there's a lot of cool places to see in New York, and not just New York. When I go anywhere, I like to find the unique spots, such as Dominican Republic. I'm going to soon.
That is awesome. Yeah, me and Danielle are actually going. Me and Danielle are going to Minneapolis this weekend, actually.
Oh, What are you going to do there?
I was on, we're doing music, right? I booked some shows up there Friday and Saturday. And then Sunday, we are hosting our songwriter showcase for the Scene projects, right? So I'm going to host like 7 or 8 of my songwriter friends, who most of them I haven't seen since the awards show back in April for our Midwest Country Music Organization. And we've gotten a really great response actually on the event. I think 84 people have responded. I don't even know how big this bar is that we're playing in, but I sure hope a lot of people show up and check out what we're doing. I know we have ads that are on the radio show as well. So, several physical radio stations are playing and talking about our show. So we're going to have a big time up there. And then, Danielle got tickets to the Monday Night Football game between the Bears and Vikings as well. So we're going to stay through Monday and get to watch a night game. Her Vikings are doing very well this year. And I'm not as excited about watching, the Bears that I root for, but I think I'm just going to enjoy it with her. It's the whiteout. I'll probably just dress in white and enjoy the game and worry less about who's on the field and just having a good time. I mean, the NFL experience is unlike anything else. There's a reason it's so popular.
Yeah. Yep. And I don't pay any attention to it.
No, but you would still have fun as someone who enjoys even though you don't even know, if you didn't even know what was going on the field, it's such a spectacle when you're there. I mean, it's 70,000 people in this building, right? Especially the stadium up in US Bank Stadium in Minneapolis is beautiful. It's right in the middle of town. You get to go experience a tailgate before, have some great food, maybe have a drink or two with your friends. And it's a great experience, right? And I feel like the more detached I am from the product that's on the field, the more I actually can enjoy just being there and being at just being at a big event like that. I've always been a big fan of festivals and concerts. I mean, obviously.
See, I like UFC fights.
Oh, that would be awesome too. Or to be at the Mike Tyson, Jake Paul fight. I mean, I know it wasn't much of a fight, but just to be in that arena when there's that energy, right? I would have loved to watch the women's boxing match before that with, 70, 80,000 people. Just wild, man.
That one was so good. Did you
Oh, that was the fight of the night.
That was so good. Did you know I went to Jake Paul and was it Tyrell? Was that his name? Tyrell? Jake Paul. It was his first boxing fight.
Really?
His first boxing fight live in Cleveland, Ohio.
No kidding.
Yes, and that was freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Yes, it's just
and people,
Dave Chappelle was there.
Yeah, come on, man. And that's the thing. People want to hate on the guy, but it's like, dude, what I don't buy how much of his personality outwards is who he is on the inside. You know what I mean?
No,
like, there's no way that he...
Cool.
Right. Well, and not even like cool, but like what he did for women's boxing that night. And I said it a ton to people. I even wrote an article on the Scene Projects about it because I was so moved. Is like, he put millions of eyes on women's boxing that you've never seen. And that was the fight of the night. It was always supposed to be the fight of the night, right? It was the co-headline for a reason. I kind of knew what we were going to get out of the Jake Paul, Mike Tyson fight. And you could tell by the way that they were going after each other that it wasn't about them at all. And it wasn't about the money. And, maybe Mike needed a little bit of it to pull himself out of some legal troubles. So what, man? Good on Jake Paul for not, destroying one of our heroes. That was my big thing with the fight. Like, man, pay attention. People can't see past that first layer of anything, though. And that's why I think our podcast, Get Real, is going to be so powerful, because me and you, once we're talking to each other, no one else even exists, right? We lock in
for hours and hours and hours.
These are the conversations that are changing people's lives. Danielle and I have been watching a new show that we just got into called Nobody Wants This, and it's her name's evading me right now. Kristen Bell. And the first thing I saw on her, I was like, she's had work done. You know what I mean? Her lips were a little thinner, and I was like, oh, I never thought she would do that. And then in like episode 4 of the thing, and maybe this isn't true, but it sure seemed like it. But this show has been nothing but like what a good relationship should look like. They have been honest with each other. They've been just like everything. It's exactly how, every relationship should be, that it's not. And it was really cool to see this. But there's one point where she's going to, be brutally honest, and she's never done that about herself, right? He's asking her what her biggest fear is. And she says, I can't even do this with you looking at me. I have to turn around. And, you know, she turns his back to him and the shot goes to her face. And, you know, she says flat out, my biggest fear is a bad facelift. And I was like, holy shit. I was like, she just admitted it, right? Like, that's how, that was fucking good TV. Wow, that was powerful. How honest and how courageous of her to just own the, just wow. And the fact that that's out on Netflix, and I hope it's trending, and I hope it's one of the top shows. People need to see good relationships, even if it's fake. People need to see it, right? Instead of seeing shit, and it doesn't feel forced, and it doesn't feel fake, and it's a very real show. I hope you go and watch it. I don't know if you subscribe to Netflix. I know
exactly which show you're talking about, because I've actually, a friend of mine said that I should watch it.
Oh my God, you'll love it.
I'm not a big TV watcher.
They're honestly. Short episodes. They're like 25 minutes. They go really, like, you literally get through it and you're like, oh my God, it's over already.
I do love Kristen Bell, and I did turn on Burlesque today, and I forgot that she was in that. She's in Burlesque. Do you know the movie Burlesque?
I don't.
Right. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Kristen Bell. Yep, she's in Burlesque. The one with the singer, the blonde.
Cher. Oh.
Well, Cher's in it too.
That's what I thought. Right. Yeah.
Christina Aguilera. Yeah.
Okay. So now that's an old movie, right? That's an old what's her name? Sorry. Liza Minnelli.
No, she's not in that. That may have been the first one.
That's what I'm saying. The first one. Yeah. Liza Minnelli would have been like 85 for the other one.
This is what we should talk about next episode. You know,
I love it.
Because I could go into this all day long.
Oh my God.
About plastic surgery.
Really?
So I think that should be our next episode.
Killer. Well, then we'll bag that one up, and we'll save it for next time we get to chat. I'm really glad you jumped on the phone with me today. I know this is kind of just going to evolve and just keep getting better, but I want to get these conversations out there and get in the routine of people seeing and hearing our voices together. And it doesn't have to be perfect. I think that's what I've learned over the last 6 months of being a podcaster. Like, so few people are listening early on that it doesn't matter if you suck early. It doesn't, and you get so much grace.
I am perfect.
Yeah. Okay. As we all are. Well, thank you so much for joining me. My co-host, Sarah Canida. Look up Sarah Does. Plug everything.
Thank you. Yep. Thanks for having me. And we'll chat again. Until next time. Have a happy time in Minneapolis.
Well, and you as well. When are you going to the Dominican?
I'm going to the Dominican in the end of February through March.
Nice. A whole month?
I know. No. I wish. I'm going for 10 days. 10 days over my birthday.
Well, happy birthday to you.
I know. I'm excited. This will be my first time I've used my passport. I went to Mexico, but you didn't need a passport then. And so this is my first passport stamp. I've traveled all over the US, but I have not been many places around the world. So I'm excited to start that. I
went to Mexico too. They let me in without a passport, but they were pretty disappointed that I didn't come back with one.
Really?
Well, I had felony warrants too. We can get into that later.
Yep, there's a whole other episode. See, that's the thing about you and I is, I don't know if you know this about me, but I'm a person that can talk on the phone. Okay, we can sit and we can chat and we can talk. I could talk for 10 hours with you, and we could keep going into every 5 minutes. It changes into a whole new conversation.
Yeah.
So
it's my favorite part. All right. We're going to let the listeners go for today, but we've already got ideas for the next episode. So you guys tune back into the Scene Projects and make sure you're checking out Get Real with Bubba and Sarah. And join us next week on the newest episode.
All right. Have a great day. Bye.
Thanks for listening. Remember to follow the Scene Projects on all your social media channels and get even more content at thesceneprojects.com.